could have been anywhere in the YouTube world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that. Welcome back to House Zay Views. And we're going to run through the card for this week's AEW Dynamite. This installment was called Winter is Coming. Now, one thing that I love about AEW, they'll make a normal, episode of Dynamite. They'll hype it up as having like pay-per-view like build, and I love what they did with this show. But let's run down the card and let's get right into it. So the night starts off with the AEW World Title match between Hangman Page, the champion, defending against the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. Now, I thought that this match would have ended the night, but in AEW fashion, they start off big. They start off with a crazy match. And man, these guys tore the house down. This match went for the entire first hour of the show. Now, throughout the match, Daniel Bryan was working the crowd, acting like that Hangman Page wasn't nothing for him. Then the match got crazy. A few of my favorite spots throughout the match. At one point, Hangman Page had Daniel Bryan hanging on the third rope, and Hangman did like this springboard lariat. It was the cleanest thing I've seen. It was pretty dope. He did a moonsault to the outside of the ring. Hangman Page was wilding. So then after the moonsault, Daniel Bryan took advantage outside of the ring. Busted Hangman's head open. It's been a minute since I've seen blood in wrestling, so it was good to see that again. At one point, Daniel Bryan had the advantage of the match, but then after he tried to kick Hangman Page, he made a mistake and hit the post, and then Hangman got the advantage, and then it just kept going back and forth. It was a crazy match, a lot of good spots. At one point, Hangman Page hit a tombstone out of nowhere on Daniel Bryan, and it was crazy. At one point, Daniel Bryan DDT'd Hangman Page on the exposed floor on the outside. Then another point in the match, Daniel Bryan tried to go for the finisher. He tried to go for the psycho knee, but then Hangman Page reversed it into a dead eye, and then hit him with a discus clothesline, and then capitalized with the buckshot lariat. And you thought that Hangman was gonna retain clean, but then the match came down to a draw. The match ran out of time, and listen, it was one hell of a match. It was a great match. Definitely the best televised match that AEW has had. I think at as far as like the world title matches that they put on television, I like this match better than the match that Daniel Bryan had with Kenny Omega. Even though that match was crazy, this match was even crazier. But similar to the match that Bryan Danielson had with Kenny Omega, this match came down to a draw. And listen, I understand that you don't want either individual looking weak. You don't want Hangman Page to lose the belt in his first title defense, and you don't want Daniel Bryan to take the L this soon in his AEW run. So I guess they decided to give this match a draw finish, and it sucks because matches that are this good, matches that are that long, and matches where both men give their all to that degree, matches like that deserve a definitive finish. I would have felt some type of way if Hangman Page would have lost the belt in his first defense. Maybe like the first 10 minutes. After that, I would have been like, all right, that was a crazy match. Would I have been satisfied if Hangman Page successfully defended the belt and would have gave Daniel Bryan his first loss? Yes, that would have been a good finish as well. But they decided to go with the draw, and eventually we'll get a rematch. I don't know. We never got the rematch between Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega, so I don't know what they're going to do with this, man. I don't know who's going to be Hangman Page's next defense. But after this, man, later on down the line, we need that rematch between Hangman Page and the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. My only complaint with that match is that throughout the match, there were 4 commercial breaks. 4 commercial breaks throughout the match. So then we get a backstage segment with Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, and the Young Bucks. They talking about embarrassing the Best Friends the previous week, how they beat down on them. They said Matt Jackson saying that he wants to super kick Trent Beretta's mom. It's all messed up. But they issue a challenge to the Best Friends to a 4-on-4 tag team match during this week's episode of AEW Rampage. Adam Cole also says that he has a Christmas special surprise for his friends, so we'll see what happens. this Friday's episode of AEW Rampage. Then we get the next match of the night. We have Wardlow going up against Matt Sydal. This was a clean squash. Wardlow winning after just a few power bombs. While Wardlow is squashing through Matt Sydal, you got Sean Spears on the outside telling him to wrap this up. You don't have to go too crazy with the power bombs. The crowd chanting, one more time, one more time. But after like one more power bomb, Wardlow ends the match, squashes Matt Sydal. Afterwards, Sean Spears gets in the ring. MJF calls him on the phone. Sean Spears looks at Wardlow like, hey man, we gotta go get ready for MJF's match. We gotta go set up. We gotta go get some champagne. And it looks like this is gonna lead to Wardlow leaving Pinnacle. I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do with it, but it looks like, you know, the classic storyline of Powerhouse being abused and overused, and the Powerhouse being looked over, and the Powerhouse being treated like an idiot. And he's probably gonna end up leaving Pinnacle, similar to how they did Batista and Evolution back in the day. I can see that being a thing. The next we get a segment with Malachi Black. It looks like he's performing this ritual, and during the ritual you see a hooded figure in all black. And the speculation begins on who this could possibly be making their AEW debut. A lot of people on the internet think that it's going to be either Brody King from ROH, since ROH recently closed its doors, or Bray Wyatt, or Wyndham, or whatever he wants to call himself going forward in his wrestling career. I don't know I think it reached its 90 day, but who knows? I want to see what they do with this segment, and I want to see what they do with Malachi Black. It looks like that Black is going to have like a little stable form. So let's see what they do with that with the next coming weeks. Then we get another match. This is like a blood feud. We have Serena Deeb going up against Hikaru Shida. Serena Deeb beating up Hikaru Shida during the TBS tournament, weakening the leg. And throughout this match, Serena Deeb continued to attack the leg of Hikaru Shida. Hikaru selling the injury that she suffered during that tournament. And yeah, Serena Deeb pretty much worked the leg the entire match. And you know what? I like how Serena Deeb wrestles. She's probably gonna be one of my favorite women wrestlers in AEW. The way that she executes her techniques are pretty cool. At one point, she was going for like this triple swinging neck breaker. I really liked that. I really liked it. But at one point in the match, Serena Deeb decided to expose one of the turnbuckles, trying to use it to her advantage. But Hikaru Shida would take advantage of that, would push Serena into the exposed turnbuckle, and she would win the match with a jackknife pin. Then we get the main event of the evening. MJF, Dante Martin, they are fighting for the Dynamite Diamond Ring. They had a battle royal in the previous week where the last two remaining guys were MJF and Dante Martin, and now they get this one-on-one confrontation for the ring itself. Now I don't really get the importance of the Dynamite Diamond Ring. I would probably have to go back at the previous matches for it to see what it's all about and why it matters. But MJF won it a few years ago. He won it last year, and again, he won it this year. And I guess it goes with his gimmick, because when he comes out, when he does his entrance, he, you know, puts the ring in the camera and all that stuff. So I guess I won't really understand the importance of it until he loses it to someone else. And I guess we'll have to wait a whole nother year until that goes down. As far as the match goes, the match was what it was. A huge contrast in styles, with MJF working the arm of Dante Martin and Dante Martin being the high flyer that he is. The match was good, but it would come down to its end when Ricky Stark would get involved. You know, Dante Martin turning his back on Team Taz the previous week. Ricky Stark would get involved, distract Dante Martin, and this would lead MJF to put in the Salt of the Earth armbar for the win. And of course, MJF is still the holder of the Dynamite Diamond Ring, looking real strong going into this feud with CM Punk. And prior to the match, he was talking about how CM Punk struggled to deliver a promo in the previous week because they were in MJF's hometown. And while they were in MJF's hometown of Long Island booed CM Punk out the building. And it's so rare that we see CM Punk getting booed. But MJF doubled down on that prior to the match. And with him getting this win tonight, it's looking like he's looking real strong going into this feud with CM Punk. I don't know when the next AEW pay-per-view is going down, but when we get this match between CM Punk and MJF, man, it's going to be a good one. And that's pretty much it. That was the AEW Dynamite show that went down last night. Winter is coming. I mean, it was a solid show. The first match went down for an hour. We did get only 3 matches throughout the night, but it is what it is. Honestly, those 3 matches, the quality of those matches were better than anything that I get these days out of another certain company. I'm not going to say the name. I know that certain wrestling fans hate when we get in debates between WWE and AEW, but you can't help it when they're like the top 2 definitive companies in wrestling. You're gonna compare the 2. It's like WWE and WCW back in the day. You can't help but do that. AEW, man, great showing, great card, solid night, and it was awesome. Winter is coming, man. Well, winter is here, I guess. But it was smooth. It was a smooth event. But once again, man, thank you for tapping into House J Views. Thank you for coming through the channel. Thank you for tapping into this review here with me. And yeah, man, while you're here, feel free to like, share, subscribe, turn them notifications on, drop something in the comment section, engage, become a housemate, come home. Until then, peace.